So in today's lesson, we are going to be focusing on solving algebraic expressions using decimals. And so when we take a look at this, the very first problem I'm going to take a look at is on page 362. And it says, Sarah and her brother buy tickets to the school play for the family. They decide to share the cost equally. And the cost of the tickets is going to be $4.25. And so what we need to do is we're going to write an algebraic expression that shows Sarah's share of the cost. Then we're going to use that expression to find Sarah's share of the cost if there are 6 people in her family. First thing we're going to do is we're going to write that expression. So if there are unknown numbers in her family, right, because it's an algebraic expression, so writing expression, I'm going to do $4.25 x. The x represents the number of people in her family, and she's sharing the cost with her and her brother. So the expression I'm going to write is $4.25 x divided by 2. And then we were given the value of x equals 6. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use order of operations to evaluate and solve. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply $4.25 times 6. Notice that I'm doing my work off on the side. I'm not doing my work in the workspace. I'm doing it off on the side and keeping my workspace clean. So when I do 6 times 5, that's going to be 30. Put down the 0, regroup the 3. 6 times 2 is going to be 12, plus 3 is going to be 15. So I put down the 5, I regroup the 1. 6 times 4 is going to be 24, plus 1 is going to be 25. And then I need to look at how many values are behind the decimal. So I have 2 values behind the decimal. So it's going to be 25 and 50 hundredths. So I'm going to do 25 and 50 hundredths, and I'm going to divide that by 2. So the next step that we're going to do is we're going to take 2, and we are going to divide that into $25.50 to see how much she is going to spend. So I'm going to take the 2. First thing I need to do is take the decimal and bring it straight up. And then I don't have to worry about the decimal anymore. So I'm going to go 2 goes into 25 12 times. 2 times 12 is 24. Going to subtract. I'm left with 1. Next step is to bring down the 5. 2 goes into 15 7 times because 2 times 7 is 14. So I'm going to bring my work up here. So I have 15 subtract 14 equals 1. Next step is going to be to bring down the 0. 2 goes into 10 5 times. And 2 times 5 is going to be 10. I'm going to subtract, left with 0. So my answer is going to be she will have to spend $12.75 for her share of the tickets. Okay, we take a look at the convince me. It says, suppose that groups of over 10 people can purchase tickets at a discounted price of $4 per ticket. Write an algebraic expression that shows Sarah's cost if she buys tickets for more than 10 family members. So we're going to explain what each term represents. So first thing we're going to do is it's still going to, if it's going to be $4, so 4x, because x represents the unknown people, we know that it's going to be more than 10. So the price is now $4 divided by 2. So the x is going to represent number of tickets bought. The 2 represents Sarah and her brother. And then the 4 represents cost of ticket. So that's what the different values represent in the expression. Okay, so we're going to move into number 1 on your guided practice. It says, what does it mean to evaluate an expression by using substitution? So when we evaluate an expression by using substitution, the first thing we do is we are going to substitute the variable. That's the first thing that we do. Okay, so we substitute the variable for the value. And then our next step after we do that is we solve using order of operations. So that's how we evaluate an expression using substitution. Okay, number 2, suppose the play tickets cost $5.50 each. So now we're looking at $5.50 each. Write an algebraic expression to represent the amount that Sarah would pay for her family's tickets. How much would Sarah pay if there were 3 people in her family? So it's going to be the same value, or it's going to be the same expression. So I'm going to do $5.50 x divided by 2. And then I'm going to go ahead and go through and I'm going to solve and I'm going to simplify. So first thing I'm just going to go ahead and substitute. So I'm showing that step of substitution so I know what the value is going to be. So it's going to be divided by 2. And then I'm going to do my work off to the side. So 550 times 3. So 0 times 3 is 0. 3 times 5 is 15. I regroup the 1. 3 times 5 is 15 plus 1 is 16. I have 2 values behind the decimal, so I have 2 values behind the decimal in my quotient. Then I'm going to take 1650, and I'm going to divide that by 2. Bring the decimals straight up. 2 goes into 16 8 times, so 2 times 8 is 16. I'm going to subtract. I have 0 left over. I bring down my 5. 2 goes into 5 2 times. I almost said 4 times. That would have been 8. 2 times 2 is going to be 4. I subtract. I have 1 left. I'm going to bring it up here. I bring down my 0. 2 goes into 10 5 times and finish out my problem. And so the answer is going to be the cost of her share would be $8.25. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at our next problem that we're going to do. So our next problem that we're going to do is r divided by 2 4/10, where r is equal to 16 8/10. So the first step I'm going to do is I'm going to substitute the value. So I have 16 8/10 divided by 2.4. And then I'm going to go ahead and just do my math work off to the side and solve. So 16 is, so first thing I do is I just brought the decimal straight up. I made a math error right there. I don't bring the decimal straight up because I erased the wrong one, because I have a decimal in my divisor. So in my divisor, so I need to bring my decimal over. So I'm going to bring it over and then I'm going to bring it up. So now I'm looking at how many times 24 is going to go into 168. And so I'm going to just do some math work, and I'm just going to take a guess. I'm going to do 25 times 5. 24 times 5 and see what I get. So 4 times 5 is 20. Regroup the 2. 5 times 2 is going to be 10 plus 2 is 120. And so that's too small. But if I look here, I have 168, 120. So if I go up 2 math facts, I'm going to end up with 168. When I subtract, I have 0 left over. So the answer for this problem is going to be 7. So there's my algebraic work. This is my work off on the side. All right. So if we take a look at number 4, I have 9 85/100 S, where S is equal to, remember they do the big multiplication symbol, where S is equal to 4. So I'm going to go ahead and just substitute that in so I can see times 4, and then I'm going to do my work. So I have 9 equals, or 85/100 times 4. 4 times 5 is going to be 20. Put down the 0, regroup the 2. 4 times 8 is going to be 32 plus 2 is going to be 34. Put down the 4, regroup the 3. 4 times 9 is going to be 36 plus 3 is going to be 39. And then I have 2 values behind the decimal. So my answer is going to be 39 40/100. And then my next problem that I'm going to do is I have 4f subtract 7, where f is equal to 12.6. So I'm going to do 4 times 12.6 subtract 7. So again, I'm just going to do my work off on the side here. 6 times 4 is going to be 24, so I'm going to put down the 4, regroup the 2. 4 times 2 is going to be 8, plus 2 is going to be 10. Regroup the 1. 4 times 1 is 1 plus 4 times 1 is 4, plus 1 is going to be 5. I have 1 value behind the decimal, so it's going to be 50.4. So my next step is going to be 50.4 subtract 7. So my answer is going to be 43 4/10. All right, so the last problem that I'm going to take a look at is I'm going to do 6y added to y divided by 2, where y is equal to 6 and 1/10. So what I need to do here is I need to substitute for y both values. So I'm going to do 6 times 6.1 plus 6.1 divided by 2. The first step I'm going to do is I'm going to do this parentheses, because remember our order of operations is we do parentheses. So we do parentheses, exponents, division, multiplication left to right as they come, addition, subtraction left to right as they come. So because these are in parentheses, I'm going to do that first. So I'm going to do 6 and 1/10 divided by 2. Bring my decimal straight up. 2 goes into 6 3 times. That's 6. I subtract. I have 0. Next step is to bring down the 1. 2 goes into 1 0 times. So I need to go ahead and put a 0 here, and then I can add a 0. So 2 is going to go into 10 5 times. So my answer is going to be 3.05. Now the reason I had to put a 0 here is because I brought down the 1. So I need that placeholder, because when I multiply 2.5 or 2 times 3.5, I get 7. If I were to go back and multiply this, I would get 3.0, or I'd get 6.5. Okay, finish up my problem. I get a 0. So I now have 6 times 6.1 plus 3.05. And so the next step that I need to do is I need to go ahead and I need to do some multiplication. So let me clear out this so I have some workspace. And then I'll just do it in a different color. So I'm going to do 6.1 times 6. So 6 times 1 is going to be 6. 6 times 6 is going to be 36. I have one value behind the decimal. So now I have 36.6 plus 3.05. So my final answer is going to be 39 and 65 hundredths. So what you're going to do for your practice today is that first set of problems, the 7 through 15, you're going to do 7, 10, 12, and 15. And I'm only going to have you do it to where x equals 6.4. So I don't need you to go x equals 1.8, x equals 5, and x equals 6.4. I just want you to do the 6.4. Then you are going to do problem 16, 17 on the front of the page. And then the back side, you are going to do problems 20, 21, and 24 using order of operations to help you evaluate decimal expressions.